Well, joining us on, is it Google Meet? I mean, one of the many online meeting platforms is a former Tasman Mako a Hurricane, and now the host of What a Lad podcast. It's been going for a while now. It's always up above us in the charts because they get far better guests. So why not get one of the great guests who get guests and make him a guest on ours? James Marshall. G'day, James.
Hey, thanks for having me. None of us can catch that damn Bill Simmons, though. Is it Bill Simmons? He always seems to be at the top.
Yeah.
But me and you guys have quite a good race for second usually, and you guys have been doing well, so it's been good to see.
Yeah,
Mate,
we
but
took
Bill
a lot of
Simmons.
time off, and we've struggled in the charts
Yeah, we have,
since we've come
actually.
back in 2021. But you just are committed right
Yeah.
through the summer period. I see your latest potty is with Marty Banks, so you're getting the biggest names in New Zealand sport on your show. How do you do it?
Matty, thanks. He was tough to get. Actually, he was a bit hesitant. It took him. He didn't want to come on the first season, but I knew I could maybe rope him in with being the big headline of season 2, first episode, and you know what he's like. He just loves the limelight, so he jumped at the spotlight of being the head of season 2, and yeah, he was happy to come on in the end.
Yeah, and an hour and 20 minutes, and a good hour of that is him talking about his drop goal against the Hurricanes in the final in 2015
Fuck
for
off,
the
John.
Highlanders. Yeah, and that's exactly where I want to start this chat, James. How was that 2015
James,
final?
He doesn't need to do that, James. That's your second question to James.
Yeah.
The final.
Yeah.
Oh, it brings back some bad memories. Really, I felt like we really should have won that one. It was a tough day. Banksy did talk about it a lot, and I still can't believe he kicked the winning drop goal. When he came on, I was low key quite happy that Lima was going off and Banksy was coming on. Banksy just choked in the Super Rugby. Banksy just choked in the ITM Cup final previously, the season before, so I knew he was going to be right on edge. But the kid delivered and dropped the goal to win it, which still breaks.
Were you like run at him? Just run at him? Like everyone was like, channels on, boys. Let's run at Marty Banks.
Yeah, holes open.
Yeah, I'm not sure if we had the chance, to be fair. He talked about remembering lining up against Julian Savera for line-out, but they did some trick play where they backed off and they got a free kick or a penalty off it. So it could have been a much different final, Savera under the sticks, and instead of him kicking the drop goal.
Because I remember as well, Marty Banks, he was in the Hurricanes the season before, and he was absolutely useless. Like it was unbelievable how bad he was. And I still say to them to this day, you owe the Hurricanes money. Like you stole from them.
That Russian mafia money he got earlier in his career maybe should be paid to the Hurricanes.
Oh, that's rough. Oh, I like it. He did have one shocking game against the Highlanders, which it still haunts him to this day. I know that. But other than that, that was the end of his career with the Hurricanes pretty much. He had that game and then didn't get another look in. But it was also a good opportunity for me because then I started getting a little bit of a sniff. So gave me a chance.
So good. And that's why we have got you on. You've hung up the boots, James. I mean, you've played rugby all around the world. Hurricanes, Taranaki. And what over in England, Japan, what a career now that you can reflect on it. Just what do you kind of make of your rugby career?
Yeah, it's been, when I look back on it, I guess it's exceeded all expectations. I was never a good rugby player growing up, and I just had a dream to become a rugby player. And once things started to happen, just things started to fall in place. The harder you train, things like that, the more things start to happen. So I look back on it with so many good memories, such good times. Like you said, got to see a lot of the world, experience different places, and I can look back and be pretty satisfied with what I've achieved, I think.
So, James, you obviously worked with a few professional setups. Out of all those countries, different teams that you played for, which one was the loosest setup?
Surely not Coca-Cola in Japan. That would have been real tight.
Nah, definitely not Coca-Cola. Geez, you had to be clean shaven every day at work. That one used to break me. That was so rigid over there. But
really?
Wow.
I think Tasman in the early days was pretty loose when it was still sort of getting to terms with being professional, and geez, we weren't that good. Things, some of the
few
end
training
days
days down at the McCashins.
Oh, what was that, sorry?
A few training days down at McCashins Brewery. Is that what you're talking about?
Potentially.
Was that your fault though, James? Because you're a bit of a pest. Like, your teammates are just like never answer your phone calls because you're probably going to prank them. So did you have to get out of Tasman for them to become the juggernaut they are now?
No, I was just a young kid back then, just keen to learn, and I was just following everyone else's footsteps. But no, the pranks didn't start till the Hurricanes. But like you say, no one answers the phone anymore, so they've dried right up.
Yeah, tell me about. I love listening to your pranks on the What a Lad podcast, and one in particular with Damian McKenzie. Can you just tell us about that one?
Oh, actually, Brad Weber helped me set that one up. He told me that Damian was loving the Whoop Food Company, so he set it up with his manager to give him a little bit of an insight. And then I called Damian as someone from the Whoop saying that we're keen to get him to do a nude calendar. And he was in fully. He fully committed to it. He didn't lose it until I asked him what piece of fruit he'd used to cover up his piece, and we ranged from watermelon to blueberry. And once I said the blueberry, he just lost it, and he knew something was up.
Was he like, "Is that you, James Marshall?"
Yeah.
I think he did. I think he said, "Oh, come on, who's this? This is you, Jimmy." And then we both just cracked up.
That's something that's been missing from the world of radio for a long time, is the old classic prank.
Yes.
So kind of what got you into pranking your teammates?
Well, I actually got stitched up having to go on the info committee at the Hurricanes, when you have to stand up the front of the bus and give information on the places that the team's traveling to. And I sort of changed it into a audio recording that I'd play on the bus. So I took the embarrassing aspect out of it, and then just started rinsing the boys. And as it grew, it turned into pranks and all sorts of other things. But there was always a bit of a laugh for the team. And I finished rugby thinking, man, I've got so many prank calls that would be quite cool to share with the rest of the world. So started putting them on the podcast.
Oh, nice. Now, James, John Day and I, and unfortunately Nick Rado is a collateral damage on this. We always argue about what's better, the dual playmaker with Mo'unga and Barrett and the All Blacks, or is it put Bodie back at 10? I know you and I have shared thoughts on social privately, James, but where do you see the dual playmaker? Because you can play 10 and 15. You're great off the bench in that respect as a utility at Super Rugby. What do you feel like that where he's best placed when Beauden Barrett?
Beauden, yeah, it's such a tough one. I mean, both. I reckon I love the dual playmaker personally because it suited my game as well. Me and Bodie sort of played that dual playmaker role. I see what they're doing, and I do think it is probably the best way at the moment. But there's so many talented fullbacks that it's such a tough selection issue at the moment. Hard not to play Mo'unga at 10. He's been on fire for the Crusaders the last 2 years. He's carried that side more than people give him credit. The pack isn't quite what it used to be down there, but the way he leads that team around is just next level. But obviously Bodie's just too good of a player not to play. So I think I'll probably go with the same as what they're doing, but obviously you're missing out on some pretty special fullbacks who are playing well as well. So it is a real tough selection, I think.
Yeah, but if you look at a team that wins all the time, like the Crusaders, they play a specialist fullback all the time. David Avili, Will Jordan, and they win. So I'm just saying, Barrett on the bench. Mo'unga at 10.
Who's your fullback?
Who's your fullback?
Well, Will Jordan for 2023 World Cup. He'll play his way there by that stage. I guess Geordie can fill in the meantime.
What about RTS?
At 15.
Yeah.
RTS is going to be on the right wing for me. He's, rugby league convert. You got to give him some time.
Oh, geez, Severin Reese gets a hard
on the wing.
screen.
And just finally, the
John just forcing his opinion on us all here, James.
Yeah, I don't let anyone speak after I have an opinion either. It's the way to go. And finally,
John,
James,
thanks.
why I brought you on the podcast is, are you going to apologise for turning your back on Tasman and going to Taranaki and then beating Tasman for the Ranfurly Shield and then beating them for the Mitre 10 Cup final?
Oh, that's so good, James.
I do apologise for that. And now that I'm back in Tasman,
Yeah, they gave you a coaching gig.
Can I just say, James, this is probably your best prank ever.
Got it.
Just pranked Tasman hard.
Oh, that's so good.
Well done, mate. Committed to the prank. This is good.
No, it wasn't.
What's your role at Tasman then?
That premiership final was one of the highlights. I did have to move to make my way into the Hurricanes, so it was a pretty easy decision in the end. It wasn't just turning my back on Tasman. I couldn't progress the career without doing that move, but yeah, I'm back at Tasman now, and they've won the last couple, John. So we're hoping to make it through this season.
No, that's good. I hope you're not doing the defence, though. I know Shane Christie's left, but if you're doing the defence, we're going to have problems.
All about line speed.
I'm good at line speed, just in another capacity.
Yeah, Shane Christie is back, so don't you worry.
Yeah.
Okay.
Excellent. Hey, James Marshall, host of What a Lad podcast. Thank you so much for your time, man. Congratulations on your podcasting career, and good luck with the future as a newly retired rugby player.
Hey, thanks very much, team. Love your work.
You're a legend.
Cheers, James.
Cheers,
Cheers,
James.
guys.
Thanks, man.
Thanks, bro. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
No worries. Awesome.
Is the wife happy you're going to be home more now?
Yeah, she is loving it. Yeah. So I actually did get offered the Canes coaching role, but I had to turn it down because we couldn't move again. So it was a tough one.
Oh, really? Were you going to be the new Carlos Spencer up there?
Yeah,
I was, but Tyler Blindale's there now. So, and wife's happy. So I'm happy.
Yeah, good. Yeah, exactly.
Good stuff. I love how you moved to Taranaki to advance your career, but you just ended up playing behind Bowden Barrett there and at the Hurricanes.
Fuck, John.
He was gone from the Naki straight away. I knew he was going to be an All Black.
Yeah, that's true. But he did. He made a couple of appearances, didn't he? 2012, 2014 in those games.
Oh, he came back for that one where the Shield game where he ripped up Tasman.
Yeah, pissed me off.
It's so good.
Yeah, I was in the crowd. Man,
but if he wasn't there, John, I know who would have been at 10, and it would have been the same result.
Oh well, mate, you did bloody well with the body that you had in the end as well. It was broken by the end. How many surgeries have you had?
Oh, too many. It's been my hips. They've been killing me. That's been the main one. But yeah, I wasn't supposed to be a rugby player, I don't think, but somehow made a career out of it.
Shit, you did bloody well. Wore the silver fern as well.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thanks, James.
Yeah. Hey, all good. Cheers, guys.
Cheers,
See you,
bro.
mate.
See you.
Furu.